right, welcome back. This is the week you missed. It is April 8th, 2022. This year is flying by. I can't believe it. Crazy, crazy, crazy. It's a beautiful day in Philly finally. Hopefully the weather starts warming up. Seems like it's nice in North Carolina. I still got to get down there ASAP. So what are we talking about today? I feel like this, what I want to talk about might not be like the most current event. It's kind of been happening for a while, but in Philadelphia, it has kind of gained steam. What am I talking about? Something that I'm vehemently against, if I'm pronouncing that word correctly.
You're not.
Is the wealth tax. So I have no idea why, but Elizabeth Warren, for some reason, is getting into Philadelphia politics. Again, I don't really know why or how she's like getting involved, but she has helped co-opt a bill that a couple council members have now proposed, and basically trying to get a wealth tax. And of course, a lot of people in Philadelphia are already supportive of it because people hear wealth and they go, oh, Jeff Bezos doesn't pay taxes and we need him to pay taxes, his fair share. We don't need to go to outer space, so wealth tax. And like, yeah, maybe like some of those things kind of make sense, but not really. Maybe rich people do need to pay more taxes, but not from a wealth tax. A wealth tax is what you earned and you're saving, and to get that just taken away from you is robbery. Yeah. I know a lot of people say like, oh, taxation is theft. All right, like taxation, if you're buying something and they tax you, I'm like kind of okay with that. If it's a luxury good, yeah, tax it more. I have no problem with Lamborghinis being taxed 50% because no one needs a Lamborghini. It's a nice thing, and like and whatever, you're gonna go into the purchase making it 50%. But to charge something after the fact that they already have, when also the value is arbitrary and subjective. So like the value of a stock can be manipulated very easily.
Yeah.
Let's say, and just to explain that a little, let's say you owe taxes tomorrow on your stock, right? I can at 4 p.m. or 3:59 p.m. today do a buy order of your stock. Let's say you bought your stock for $10 and it's been at $10 for the last week. I can buy it for $40 at 3:59. All of a sudden, all of your value, all your 100 shares are now worth that $40 instead of 10. And now tomorrow, you're going to get taxed at $40 instead of 10. And then guess what? Next week, your value isn't $40 because I just did that to manipulate it. All of a sudden, the value could go down to $8. Now you have less value in your stock than you got taxed for. You had to pay the government your money. It's a lose-lose. I already have a friend who said he's moving from Philadelphia. Even the fact that they're thinking about this, because if they're thinking about it, it's eventually going to come. He's like, I don't even really want to deal with it. What do you think, Todd?
I completely agree. And look, let me guess. Does your friend actually have like $50 million or $100 million? Like, is he actually that wealthy?
He has like $2 million, and then I would bet he has some good crypto holdings that I'd bet he's gonna be worth more than 10 million in the next 5 years. He's pretty well positioned.
Yeah, so I don't know where like the wealth threshold is, but like the way they always like try to make these bills seem like a good idea is they're like, oh, it doesn't start until $50 million or $100 million, but it's like, yeah, if you don't think that level is going to drop over time, you don't know how the government works. Like,
well, and also that's false in my opinion. Like, it's going to affect them more, but it actually ends up eliminating the middle class. And it's like the middle class is the one who can't afford the $500 or the $1,000 on their stocks, and they end up getting rocked. The rich people can afford the tax, and then they actually can afford a way to get around the tax and not even pay it somehow. But
and
people like me and you get affected for sure.
Well, and the thing that I don't like about these is like, it's the part that like no one really thinks about. It's like, in order for the government to effectively implement a wealth tax in the way they're talking about, this means that they need to be able to look at 100% of your asset holdings and everything else. Like the right to privacy gets completely blown up. It's like, if I want to hold assets, the government doesn't need to know what I'm holding until I sell it or until there's a taxable event, in which case, since I follow the rules, I'll declare it, I will pay my tax on it, all well and good. I don't need them knowing that I've got this much money in a bank account, or, and I'm sure they already do to some degree, obviously, because they know they're involved in freaking everything.
Yeah.
But it's like, we don't need the government being able to do, like, have this much of a detailed view of all of your holdings. And look, and I think from like, to me, it's absolutely insane because, I left Philadelphia and I'm glad I'm gone, but, the city, they were saying, oh, we need more money, we don't have enough money, the schools need money, blah, 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 blah. It's like, if you look at the outstanding property tax bills that Philadelphia just doesn't bother collecting because they don't want to, like, force people out of homes, it's nuts. And look, I don't want to see people forced out of the homes as well, but, like, you shouldn't be allowed to pass a new tax law if you've got like $500 million of unpaid taxes that you could just go out and start collecting. Like, that's money just sitting on the table that they're just not collecting. And I don't know the actual amount. I remember read like an Inquirer article about it several years ago, but it's real money. Like, there's tens of millions of dollars in just uncollected property taxes that they know exactly who owes it. They know the properties they're associated with. They can either seize the properties or get the taxes. Do one or the other.
Also, what about this? Is like, I don't even really care about the money that we're collecting because we fucking waste it when we spend it. It's like, I think they said that this proposal would make like $200 million. That $200 million would literally go nowhere. It would like, they lose billions of dollars in the school district, or they spend $500 million on textbooks or God knows what, that makes no dent in the betterment of the city or our value or our livelihood or anything. So it's like, how about we make our money go farther and we actually have accountability of spending it, and we actually spend it on good things? Then we can worry about collecting more money. But we have so much money in our tax base that we just waste. So this is just like I guess it's a little bit of a tangent, but related, something I saw recently. We just got a new school district superintendent in Philadelphia, and he's coming from, I think, like Richmond, Virginia or somewhere. He's coming from a place that has, I think, like 1/10 the amount of students, but our budget is like 100 times as big. And it makes you think, like, why is our budget so big when the amount of, aren't you supposed to have like economies of scale as you get bigger, and like you save money on some things because you have resources that are pooled? But for some reason, our bigger school district is costing more per student. Makes no sense. And I feel like Philadelphia does that for not just the school district, for a number of things. We're wasting money.
Well, and that's, and I say it all the time when I've gotten into fights with people online on Facebook or on Reddit, and like people being like, we need to spend more money on this, that, or the other. And I'm like, look, honestly, like, Philadelphia can't educate its children. It can't collect trash effectively. It can't keep the streets clean. Like, look, I like going to the public pools over the summer. It's nice. But my opinion is that you, as a city, as a government, as a society, you don't get to have the nice to have things until you have all the need to have things running properly. Like, we shouldn't be spending a dime on subsidizing arts or theater productions or anything, or nonprofits that aren't directly impacting like education or poverty. Like, the fact that the city is just burning money on things while core governmental functions are going not being done or not being done well is crazy. And and I think the thing that just no one focuses on is just how corrupt the Philadelphia city government is. And it's sort of funny because when I moved to Philly, I lived there for 5 years, and I was like, what is up with like this stuff going on? And people would just sort of laugh and be like, oh, it's Philly, this is the way it is. And it's like, okay, well, as long as that's your attitude, as long as it's like, ha, our city government is super corrupt and wastes money, isn't that hilarious? It's like, or not, or it's terrible, or it's screwing for everyone. And the people, like, it's the same people, and in Philly is a one-party city. It is, and the thing is, if you even try to be like, well, maybe they should elect someone else, people are like, well, what, you want a Republican insurrectionist Donald Trump, the MAGA? It's like, oh, no, maybe like a centrist Democrat, maybe someone who's not left of Elizabeth Warren. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe try something new. And like, in Kenyatta Johnson, the trial's going on right now, and
Yeah, that's hilarious.
hopefully his ass honestly, and I'll say this because I'm not in Philly anymore, so it doesn't impact me. I hope he gets acquitted. I hope he gets acquitted, and I hope he basically walks out of that courtroom and is basically just like, fuck all you guys, and just goes right back to his grift again. And then everyone will just smile.
Most likely, that's like what's gonna happen. I feel like there's a good chance.
Typically the feds, when they go to trial, they generally got your ass nailed to a wall. Now it'll be interesting to see, but we'll see.
What do you think, he'll get in actual trouble, or he'll just get like a slap on the wrist?
I mean, I think he will get in enough trouble and be convicted of a felony where he will not be able to be a city council member anymore. I think that that's highly likely, which at the end of the day, like, look, would I love to see him do some time in jail? Sure. I don't know. I don't really care. But as long as he is out of city government and can no longer be fleecing the citizens of Philadelphia for money, that's going to be a win in some way. But I think it's crazy. And I think it's sad to see people that are so complacent and just accept that their government is corrupt, it wastes money, and no one wants to do anything about it. It's just elect the same people over and over and over again. And look, it's, I think it was Einstein or Edison or someone, it's, the definition of his insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It's like, look, and it's not to say that Philadelphia is probably the worst city government, but it's certainly a shit show. And it's I don't know, it's just so frustrating, and just, and it's such a great city and has so much potential, and just to watch it just be squandered by these corrupt assholes is just so distressing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting this year. There's a lot of council seats up for grabs. There's the mayor election coming up. So I'm with you. It'll probably be the same thing we've always had, and will be an insane city, but maybe there's a chance that things shake up and change a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
What do you have for us this week?
Well, I don't know if when you were talking about the stock stuff, I was thinking, an example could be maybe you own a stock and then some billionaire from South Africa comes in and buys 10% of it, and the shares raise 25% overnight.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. I'm glad you brought it up.
Elon Musk putting his dick on the table, just walking in the boardroom and being like, "What up?" Buying like a 9.5% stake of Twitter. I think for like a couple $1 billion. Instantly, his shares skyrocket.
He made a lot of money somehow by not disclosing the information right away. Supposedly he waited a couple days to disclose it, and the shares appreciated more. He's already made like $200 million from this move, which is just wild that one guy can like press a button more or less, make a headline from saying something, and then his net worth is more than most people can ever dream of.
Yeah. No, and I hope that it'll be interesting to see what Musk does. I think it's, I don't think Donald Trump's going to be back. I don't think they're going to bring back all the other crazy people that have been booted off Twitter. But, if he can be some sort of force to make it so that they're not just so nuts in terms of just banning people for saying things. Because like the thing and especially coming out of COVID, it's like there are a lot of people that probably got booted off of Facebook and Twitter for saying something that at the time was considered misinformation. And then 6 months or a year later, it's like, oh, it turns out they were 100% correct.
Yeah. Like not even a question.
Yeah, like you could get booted off of Twitter and Facebook for being like, hey, there's sometimes these vaccines have side effects, and it's like disinformation, anti-vaxxer. And it's like, oh no, actually, yeah, you know what? It's rare, but there are people that now have like heart conditions and lung conditions, and it's like probably pretty much directly related to the vaccine. My brother was messed up from the vaccine for about 3 months. He had to use an inhaler, and he had damage to his lungs. He's pretty sure he had myocarditis, and he got it like, it all developed like 3 or 4 days after his second shot of either, I forgot if he was Moderna or Pfizer, but and he basically said, he's like, I'm not getting another booster. He's like, there's no chance I'm taking a booster, because he's like, he's healthy. He got his 2 shots. He's in good shape. And he's like, it's not worth the risk. Like, you know, at this point, he feels that he got more messed up by the vaccine than he would have been if he got COVID, which is probably true.
Yeah,
and
there's a good chance he got COVID and he doesn't even know it because it didn't affect him at all.
Exactly. And it's, you know, so I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like, it's just been hilarious watching people freak out because it's so funny. Because I feel like,
well,
like
just to comment on the people freaking out, it's been external and internal as well. Supposedly, the workers at Twitter are all freaking out, like, what's going on? Why is this guy? Because he automatically, or I don't know how it works, but he's on the board now.
Yeah, they appointed him.
I don't know if it's because you buy a certain amount or because of something else, whatever, but he's on the board now. So a lot of people in Twitter are like, yo, what's going on? Who's this guy joining our board now? Kind of like our boss. So they're actually having an Ask Me Anything, I think for internal and external, where Elon Musk is going to be with the CEO of Twitter and people are going to be allowed to ask questions and see what he says. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think anything will change with him coming to power, or?
I don't know. I think it will obviously take time. I think that also the thought that, look, I think Elon Musk's, he thinks and operates on a completely different scale of the average human. Like he's you know, the people used to joke and be like, Donald Trump plays 4D chess, and I think Donald Trump was just a little bit fucking crazy. I do think Elon is thinking 20 moves ahead at all time. Yeah. And, you know, for people to think that this is his last sort of part of trying to influence Twitter, it's like, no, he's going to do some more stuff. Like, he's either going to have other allies that are going to start picking up shares and just, you know, like, I don't know. It could be anything. It could be, this could just be a vanity play and he just wants to be involved in Twitter and make some money.
It could have to do with Tesla. It could have to do with like Tesla. Like, he has some idea for Tesla that he needed this infrastructure for, God knows what.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see. You know, I think that it would be, it is funny to think that, you know, Elon Musk now owns, I think, 4 times as much of Twitter as Jack Dorsey does. I think Jack Dorsey, the founder, owns like 2.5%. So it's just hilarious that dumb, weird hippie is just like, you know, had his company bought by someone that I'm sure he finds, you know, he sort of reviles because of his politics. But it's just crazy. I think, you know, the way Elon Musk, like, I feel like 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, everyone's like, this guy's a genius and he's helping us get off carbon and he's making electric cars and he's giving away the tech for free and da-da-da-da. And then
now they hate him.
Sudden, it's just like, he's a right-wing Nazi and he's the worst thing ever and da-da-da-da-da. It's just like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah, things change quickly.
Dude, it is so, like, things change so quickly. It just makes your head spin.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, Will Smith was one of the highest revered celebrities in the world.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but Chris Rock's brother, Tony Rock, who's also a stand-up comedian, he went on like a 3-minute rant about it. And the best line was that he was like, I just want to make things clear. He's like, if anyone steps on this stage, the only thing you're getting nominated for is these hands.
Yeah. I didn't see that. I didn't know Chris Rock had a brother.
Dude, he's got like, and Tony Rock was saying that, he's like, there are more Rock brothers than you even know exist. Like, we just keep coming out of the woodwork. Like,
that's awesome.
But yeah, you know, and I think just to pivot quickly to Will Smith, that was hilarious and insane. I'm actually seeing Chris Rock perform next weekend, so that'll be be
awesome. Where at?
In Durham. It's the rally. But yeah, man.
How much were tickets?
So I got them on pre-sale, so they were only worked out to like $95 after fees.
Yeah. Are they going for multiple now?
Well, I bought 4, and I might be able to sell 2 of them. And the tickets I bought right now on StubHub are like $175 to $225. So I'll make a nice little profit, and then you know, Philadelphia will hit me up for the unrealized gains.
For the wealth tax, exactly. Nice way to put it all full circle. But that's all I kind of have to say for today. Any closing thoughts, Todd?
No, man. I think it's gonna be. I can't wait to watch what Musk is gonna do with Twitter, and I think hopefully Philadelphia politics finds some sanity. But time will tell.
All right, here's a closing thing actually. So for Twitter, one guess of what's going to change in the next 6 months, and then for Philly, wealth tax. Will it happen within the next 2 years or not?
I think Elon is going to push for an edit button. That's apparently something Twitter was already working on, but Elon obviously put up that funny poll where he misspelled the answer options.
Yeah.
And on the wealth tax, I don't think it will. I think that it will be seen as an overreach. I think what is going to happen is that all the rich people and corporations that are obviously pulling the strings already on Philadelphia city government are going to be like, look, if you do this, we're gone. Like,
Right.
and the thing is with Philly, it's like everyone forgets, like, because the thing is, countries and other places have done these wealth taxes, and what everyone seems to conveniently forget is that rich people are highly mobile. They can go anywhere in the world.
Quickly.
Like they will just move. Like
Yeah,
they will just be like, oh, you're gonna tax me on my wealth? All right, I'm gonna move 2 miles that way into Ballackinwood or the main line and just continue to come into Philly, and you can't touch me with your wealth tax. Like,
so actually I have someone I'm related to. I won't mention, I guess, more than that. Probably 20 years now, did just that for the wage tax, which actually there's been studies that the Philadelphia wage tax has had an effect on our population. When we enacted it in like 1990, the population was like 1.9 million, and the population has not gone above 1.9 million. It went down as the wage tax has gone up, the population went down. They just started lowering the wage tax the last 10 years, and the population has just started going up. I don't know if it's correlation or causation, but definitely something to take note of. But my family member moved 1 mile away because they were making millions of dollars a year. So 5% of millions of dollars a year is a substantial amount of money. So they moved and they saved that much amount of money. They didn't have any change in their lifestyle or anything. And that's what a lot of people do. And it's a good idea, or like the idea, the intention is good, but you need to think through like what the ramifications are, and it's not always worth it.
As soon as we left Philly, because North Carolina as a state has a slightly higher, it's got like a 5.25% income tax, which is, and I think Pennsylvania's is like 3.5.
Yeah.
But we're not paying the wage tax. So between state and local in Philly, I was paying like 7.5, 8%, and I gave myself a 3% raise as soon as I was no longer doing business in Philly.
Right.
So it's and especially
and
now,
your cost of living is lower.
Yep, and especially now with remote work and everything just exploding right now, the thought of these cities trying to do these putative taxes or additional taxes, it's like, this is the dumbest idea ever.
People are going to leave. People can finally leave. They're going to do it.
And they're going to do it. And it's, it'll be interesting to see. And hopefully Philly finds some sanity. I don't think Kenny is up for election this year. I think maybe next year.
Yeah, but all of the pre-election stuff, or all the people running, are already starting to talk.
Oh yeah, but it'll be I think Philly, like I said, I love the city. It's got so much potential. I love the people there, but I hate the government.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. It's corrupt. It's inefficient. It's waste, and it's got to go. It's got to change. Something's got to give.
I agree with you. I'm excited to see what happens in the next 7 days, because I feel like there's so much that happens now. But this was a good, pretty tame week. Finally, I feel. Hope you have a good weekend, Todd, and everyone else. Thank you. Love you. Peace.
Peace.